Okay. I will advise everyone to go through these slides of all the topics from this famous man. This person has designed these slides very well. He has not skipped a little part or a small part from the topic. And you can go through, or you can also read the book. After reading, my advice is to go through this slide after reading the book. Okay. uh, so at least you have to go through this one so that you can revise your topics because all the things are there. Okay. Is the screen visible to everyone? First of all, the question is to use this exception handling feature. So let me write the question. uh, so write a program to use exception handling feature in C++, right? So see, suppose the question is to use this feature. Okay. My problem is that you have to write a program which will use this exception handling. Okay. So we have to think about what is an exception first, and then only we can understand the concept. So exception is nothing but a means logical mistake in a program. Okay, by because of which the program stops its execution. Okay, sometimes we must have gone through. Everyone able to listen me?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. See, what is an exception and how it is different from an error? You know, when you are writing a program, because of some reason your program is means getting interrupted, and because of that reason the program stops working. Okay, and that interruption comes because of two reasons. One is an error, another is an exception. Okay, so error is because of poor programming skill. Because of that reason, the error arises. Suppose you are missing this semicolon. Is the screen visible, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Thing is that sometimes the problem arises in a program because of two reasons. One is an error, another is an exception. So error happens when you are not able to understand what is the question, for what reason you are writing the program. Suppose your question is that you are means you are given a task to add two number. Okay, but before declaring two variables you are trying to do addition. So that is one type of error, that is you are not declaring variable before it is being used. Okay, so that is one type of error. Sometimes you are also forgetting semicolon in some part of the program, and that is also one reason of one example of error. Okay, so error happens because of poor understanding of programming language. If you are not able to understand the problem properly, then error happens, right? So to avoid this, we are having means wait just a minute. So see, so error happens because of poor understanding, and poor understanding of the programming language. When you are new to the programming language, means many of us means faces problem that what is the syntax, what is the means and semantics, all these things. If you are not able to aware, if you are not aware of that, then at that moment the error happens. Okay. And one more thing is called exception. Exception is one type of problem which arises. Suppose when if you are aware of installation of software like operating system, or maybe if you are installing means application software, at that point of time sometimes your software is not compatible with your that is system. The system is having some configuration, and you are using the application in a different configuration. Suppose your system is 30-bit 32-bit system, but you are installing a software which is 16-bit software, maybe, or it may be 64-bit software. So at that moment what happens, it will start means installing in your system, but in some point of time it will stop its execution. Means the installation process will stop. It so happens if it is not properly compatible. And point is that my concept of this example is exception handling is that nowadays you will get software. Okay. Suppose your system means we are installing Windows operating system in your system. Okay. So in that at that point of time, maybe suppose your sound system is not working in your system, in your laptop or in your means computer. You are installing a Windows operating system, but your sound driver is not working. But whatever the program is written, that software is nothing but set of program. Okay. And it is having maybe thousand millions lines of code inside to work to bring all the functionalities to the screen. Okay. Like your sound driver, your display driver, everything will work properly. So point is that sometimes suppose your one of the hardware unit is not working. Okay. See, listen to my example first, then you will able to understand what is exception. We'll come to the program part next, but before that, the practical use of exception handling you can understand with this example. That is, this is an example, that is when you are installing the operating system. Suppose the operating system, then keeping in keeping in mind that every these are the hardware units available in the system. One is audio driver, means another is means video driver, whatever the other units are. For every driver there are some programs, and when you are installing it, suppose because of some hardware failure, your that unit is not working. When you are installing the operating system, it will execute line by line. When it will not find a particular device, it will not stop its execution. But real life program, if you means if you will not use exception handling, what will happen? The program will stop its execution because of some error, that the program is trying to find what is the MAC address or what is the audio driver address. There are some different address units in the computer system for different hardware unit. One is maybe Ethernet cable you are using. There is a MAC address available, and the program will search for MAC address. If it is available, then it is installing something. That software driver, that hardware driver means the driver software of the particular hardware unit, it is installing in the system. But because of some, suppose it so happens that one unit is not working at that point of time, the whole operating system installation process will not be stopped at that point of time. Instead, it will means skip that part, and it will means throw an exception. That exception will be printed in the screen that your hardware unit is not present, because of that reason it is not installed. Then it will, instead of stopping its execution, it will the control will go to the next line of code, and it will execute. But if in that scenario, if instead of if you are using exception handling feature, then it will continue its execution. Okay. But if you are not using exception handling feature, then it will stop its execution at that point of time. And that means you have to try number of times, then only you can understand what is the problem. But if you are using exception handling feature, it will print that this is the issue that happened, and you can then it will not wait for that particular driver to be present in that system. Then it will continue its execution. Instead, it will skip that part. It will go to the remaining part of the program to execute or to be executed in the system. Okay. So point is that similar way, I will give you a simple example over here. That is, when you are means given a task to divide two numbers. Okay. And suppose here is a uh, question, that is, you are given an array. Okay. Integer array given, this is input. If this is one question to for division of two numbers, division of division task, and the input is a input, that is integer array. Okay. Another input is, let me write a number. Okay. These are two input given to the program, and our expectation is print output after after dividing each element. Okay. After dividing the number by each element of the array. Okay. So this is the task, that one input is given, that is an array, and another given number. So task is to divide this number by each element. That means if the array contains, suppose for example, suppose array contains 10 numbers, or let it be three numbers. One is let me 3, 4, and the third one is 6. Okay. And the number norm is equal to, suppose 5. Then every time it will divide 5 by 3, then 5 by 4, then 5 by 6. So it will print the result after dividing uh, 5 by first element, then second element, then third element. That result it will print. Okay. So the task is to divide a given number the with each elements of the array. Suppose this is the task. Okay. So let me write a program for that. Simple. We are at the beginning we will not use any means class and object. Later point of time we will write program using class and object. But for the time being, see, with simple main function how it will be solved. Int main. Okay. If the way you are writing program, I will write the similar way. But you will see there is a problem arise, that means one problem may arise, but it will not arise every time. So that will be called as an exception. Suppose this way I will write int arr is the array name. Okay. Arr, and the size is suppose 10, and int num another number, then cout. You will divide. Okay. You will divide the number, means every element of the array. This number will be divided. This number will be divided by each individual element of the array. Okay. So for that we have to use a for loop for I. You can use while loop. Very easy to understand. While let me declare another element I. Okay. So I equal to 0. Then write I less than 10. That means if there are 10 number of elements in the array, because the index starts with from 0, that's why it will continue up to 9, the ninth index. So I'm increasing this I variable till 10, less than 10. Okay. So see, here I will write cout num by arr I. Okay. After doing that, I have to increase the value of I equal to I plus 1. Okay, so this is the solution of the previous problem which I discussed, that one array is given, one number is given. Let me write in a means a different order that you can easily understand. An integer array and one number is there. Okay, all are integers. So point is that this is the simple solution you may write in the exam if question will come. But you see what will happen with this solution. Let me write without exception. Without exception, this program is being solved without exception handling. Okay, mechanism. Right. Let me compile it. But before that, you should know that this array is declared. That means you should also initialize this one. Let me write one more loop to initialize this arr. Reinitialize this I over here so that it will again start from zeroth index. Here cin arr I, and I will be incremented. Okay. Here you can also write I plus plus again. Clear? Because I need to start again from index 0. That's why I'm reinitializing this value of I from 0. Okay, with the value 0. Then I'm dividing this norm, the single individual number norm, with each individual number of the numbers present in the array. Okay. So let me see what is happening. Compiling. So it is waiting for input to be taken to, from the keyboard. So let me write 2, 4, okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, okay, 0. Check what is. I need to write slash n so that you can able to understand easily. Slash n or endl. Let me test with small number of input. 2, 4, 6. So 0, 0, 0. But sometimes it will happen like when the input is this is in the in mathematics, that when you are having a means divisor, the value is 0, then the division is not possible. That means the value will be evaluated, the expression will be evaluated to infinity. The computer doesn't have that much facility to divide a number by 0, because it cannot store infinity value. Okay. So at that point of time, to handle that scenario, we'll see that what will happen if you will not handle it properly. That means when the input is like first number is 0, second number is let me write 2, then 4, then the compiler is not able to show some output. Just see, no output is printed. But when it is the input like I'm taking 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, then it is printing the result exactly 000. If I will write if it is divided, the norm is how much?
Yeah.
Here I should do initialize again. Norm equal to suppose 2. Okay. Let me write sorry. Now I'm equal to 20. That means 20 will be the numerator, and the denominator will be whatever the values are present inside this ARR. Okay. So 20 by 2, 20 by 4, 20 by 10. So exactly you are getting 20 by 2 is 10, and 20 by 4 is 5, 20 by 10 equal to 2. So result is coming as per our specification, whatever the input we have taken from the keyboard. Accordingly it divided and printed the output. But suppose the input is like this, then this program will not work. See, first I will take the input is 0, then 1, then okay 1, then 5. Okay, but it is not printing because it is not able to handle that. Sometimes you will not get this output screen because of some, see, this program doesn't have any means syntax error, not a logical error. Okay, there is no error present inside the program. Are you getting everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, see, my point is that this program, as per our question, we just solve it, but the program is working for some input, but some other input it is not working. The programmer may not be aware of for what reason this is not this not means why the program is not working, because sometimes the array may contain a input value 0. Okay. So at that point of time, the program is not executed. When I will write, even if not it is not able to execute, I will write another program. Suppose let me write one more function to be called, let me write int sum. It's a function. uh, Sum is receiving suppose two input, int arr and size. Okay. Then here after this I will write cout. Some function will be called with the input, that is arr, and the size is 3. Okay. So here it will work to calculate the sum of the numbers present inside the, that means this task is the subsequent task after dividing the numbers. Okay. Let me write so this statement is not related to this line or this functionality whatever I've written over here. This statement is not requiring the input from these two lines, so that's why it can be executed. So here is that input I passed to the function, and let me write int sum s. Okay, s while another is let me write size greater than 0, greater than equal to 0. Okay. Then s equal to s plus, initially I should initialize s equal to 0, and s equal to s plus arr of, that is index. I have to declare one more variable I, it should be again 0, 0, arr of I, not required. This one is not required because I decrease the variable size. I can write over here size. Okay. Then size equal to size, I should reduce the size. Okay. Then size equal to size minus 1. Okay. So this is another task which is not that much related to the previous task. And here let me write use this function over here and declare the function before being used, or you can write the function definition much before the main function so that it will work fine. I think one more closing bracket is there. Okay. Just size is not declared, right? Int size. Okay. Let me write 249 and it will divide, and this one is the sum of the numbers. It is not returning any values. Then return s. Two, 4, 8, 5. So this is 5 plus 4, 9 plus 2, 11. So total is 11. Total sum is 11. So the function is working perfectly when it is being called over here. Okay, before the main function terminates, at that point of time, uh, before that I am printing the sum of the elements present in the array. Okay, so here it is return 0. So now you should go through the program. The program is meant for not only dividing the two numbers, it is also showing the sum of the elements present in the array. Okay, so here because of the exception will arise in near future. Just see when the input is we are giving like 0, 1 and 5. So that point of time it is not doing the division task. Again, it is also not doing the sum of the element task. It is not, but that means this function is being, it is not being called. That means when it is finding some means difficulty in dividing the number, at that point of time the compiler is totally now means it is not able to execute the lines of code latter point of time. That means this line of code is even though it is not related to this line of code, still it is means whatever lines of code present after this line, when it is finding that there is a difficulty, it is stopping its execution. It is not executing the remaining lines of code present inside the program. Let me execute in a different way this program, that when the exception will arise, this is suppose 10, this is 2, this is 0. So that point of time it is able to divide the first element 20 by 10, that is 20 by 10, that is 20, 2, and 20 by 2 is 10, and the third element, it is at that point of time it is finding the difficulty to means not to able to divide the number with 0, value 0. So that point of time it is exactly facing the problem. So that's why it is the program is stopped its working. Okay, so this when the value is exactly 0, so that is that condition it is not able to handle. So this is exactly called exception. This is not an error, because the input value what the user will give latter point of time, that we cannot say that is an error, that is an exception. And so because of that reason, for all other remaining values it is working, but only for one value it is not working. So that is one type of exception. So to handle that type of exception, you have to use exception handling mechanism. with the same program, you just see how to use exception handling mechanism. Just see here. I will write. There are three statements you have to use to handle exceptions. One is called try. Try is a statement. Okay. Try is a block. Okay. Then catch. Okay. Another is called throw. So throw is a statement and catch and try are blocks. That means inside this block means what? More than one line is called block. Similarly, means more than means one block can compromise a means it will be called as a program. Similarly, catch is also a block, but throw is a single statement. So using these three statement things, we have to handle the exception in C++. Just see how to handle this exception. Here you have to write uh, this try block like this. Okay, and there is a opening bracket and a closing bracket. So try block looks like this. So wherever you are suspecting that because of some reason the program may stop its execution, so that point of time you have to use exception handling. Okay. So here you are suspecting that inside this line of code, these lines of code, we may face some problem because of the input values coming from the user. Okay. So at this point, but this line of code doesn't require any exception handling mechanism. So I'm not putting this line of code inside. That's that block. Okay. So inside this, before dividing this number, you just check if arr I equal to 0. So because of this reason, the program is not executed properly. Okay, and it is because of that reason the remaining part is not executed. That's why I gave the simple example. When you are installing operating system in your system, because of one reason, which is suppose a hardware is because of one part of the means, system is not working, the whole operating system should not be stopped its execution. It should skip that part. It should execute the remaining part later point of means after avoiding this, after throwing an exception. Okay, so let me throw the exception because of error I. When it will, the value will be 0, so at that time it should throw the exception. Throw the exception arr I. That means the value, that is arr I, will contain, when the value it will contain 0, that time, that point of time it will throw that exception. And to handle this, another statement is there after this try block. The try block ended over here. Just see, this is the try block end part and closing bracket. So after that you have to write catch. Catch is a block and it is having opening and closing bracket, but try block doesn't have this opening and closing bracket. Okay, so because it is the integer value it is thrown over here, then you have to write in some variable x. Okay, to catch this. That means this is one type of similar thing like we have seen earlier. Means it is actual argument and this is formal argument. So this is not actually argument, but this value is thrown from here, and this is being handled by the catch block by storing the value in the formal argument part. Okay, this value whichever will be thrown from here, it will be stored in x value, x variable. Now you can write that an exception and the message exception exception has occurred because value, because arr arr because of array value, that is x. Because of this value the exception has occurred. Now you just see, because I put these exception handling statements inside the program, then even though I will put 0 intentionally inside the array, still this statement will be executed. Okay, that means some value will be printed. Here I can write a statement, summation is, just see this statement is executed. Sum of array is this much. When I'll write when I'll give input in a proper way, that is suppose 2, 4 and 8, it will print sum of the value is 8 plus 4, 12 plus 2, 12, 14. Okay, again when I'm giving the input over here, let me write 1, then 5, then 0, still the sum of the element function is executed properly. Exception has occurred. uh, okay, let me write once means end L over here, and right. So let me write over here, that is 1, 5 and 0. Exception has occurred. That means when it found the numerator means the denominator part as 0, at that point of time the exception has occurred. A message has been printed. That means this throw statement is executed and it is throwing that exception, and it will be catched by the subsequent catch block of the try block. Subsequent catch block means after the try block, when it is ended, subsequently whatever the catch statement will be there, the immediate catch statement will be executed. And after execution, even though there is a zero value, still this sum function is executed now. But earlier you have seen that this sum function was not executed because of the problem arises in the previous part. Let me write this part in a different place. Let me write one more function for this so that you can easily understand. One more function here I can write. That means I am dividing the two tags into two different functions. And suppose division is a task. Division is a task, and it will receive a number num and an integer array. Okay, so at this point of time you have to declare one variable int I, and you have to initialize this okay, let me initialize this put this part over here in the main function itself. Okay, and here will be the I variable. It should be initialized with value 0. And are you able to understand, all of you? Still something is going inside your mind or not? What is going on still now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. Try to understand, otherwise I will again discuss this problem with the theoretical concept maybe tomorrow class. Okay, so point is that see here in the main function I did a small task, that is uh, variable declaration and the number, the array declaration. The variable is a norm where I will store 20 value. Okay, you can write in a different way, that is here you can declare at the beginning the variable array norm, then okay, norm as a integer variable where you are storing 20, then array size maximum I took 10, but I'm actually using three number of places to be used for our operation. And here I'm initializing the array, and now I should call this function. I should call this function, which function? This division function. Okay, division function is there. After initialization is complete, let me call cout. I'm calling directly inside the standard output statement. Okay, so division, and arr will be the array name, and the norm as the uh, numerator. Okay, after calling this, let me check whether the division function is properly working or not. If there is some difficulty, then there is no need to again declare it, initialize it. Let me check whether it's working. Change of code, more closing bracket. There is one try, one while loop. Okay, first is the number, then the array. You can pass this in a reverse way. Pass the input, numerator will be passed, then the denominator. Denominator is an array. Still there is problem. Okay, wait. Okay, the catch statement should not be here. I should put it inside this try block. Just after try block, just put the catch block. Any more error? No, it's working fine. So 248. Okay. So division is happening properly. But after this exception handle is there. So just remember that this function is working for addition of each element of the array. So I'm just omitting this one. Just concentrate on this part, division. So it is having a norm array, array, and a number, which is a numerator. So I have to, when I'm in the main function, the most important part is main function. Array is created, and later point of time you are calling the division function with the numerator and the name of the array. And the name of the array is available inside. Something was going on. 248. There is a large number over here. 248, 20 by 2, 20 by 4, 20 by 8. And this one is for 4245. 4745 is printed because of which reason? We'll see later, but you should concentrate on the exceptions first. If I will give the input, that is 1, 5 and 0, and that point of time exception has occurred, message is printed because of the value 0, and sum of the array is 6. This 1 is for what? There is a value 1 is printed. This division function is being calling is called, this I is initialized for block. After this, some of the variable is some of the functions, right? Okay. So now you should understand that because of some exceptions, the program was not working earlier. That's why you just put try, through, and catch, and inside the program, and it is only required when it is we are suspecting that there is a problem in this part of the program. In this part, okay. So instead of putting this try through catch over here, you can also put this try through catch block over here also before this means division function when it is being called. Before that you can also check it, but for that you will have to again pass you have to iterate this one so that you can check each individual element of the array. So that's why I just put that try block over here inside the function, because it needs to be iterating the array, each element of the array. Okay. So when it is finding the exception, when the value is 0, then it is throwing the exception, and it will be cached by the subsequent catch block. Because of some reason some value is being printed, that is one value. We'll see why it is so happening. Not able to get where it is. So I will send this file to you, and you just check what is exception handling, and how it is being handled. Upcoming class we can discuss more on this with some different example. But for the time being, you should know that exception arises inside the program because of some reason, but it may not be understood prior to our program, prior to our program execution. So only when program goes in execution process, then only we can face that problem. So to handle that type of problem, we have to use exception handling feature by using try through catch. Okay. So if you are not able to understand that whether it will be the exception which is thrown from the previous part of the program, whether it is integer or float or double, so then you can use one more statement that is called to handle multiple catch types of values, that is called multiple catch statement by putting three dots. Okay. So it can handle any type of exception thrown from the earlier part of the program. So three dots, here it is x. So because you don't know what is being thrown from that, so you don't need to write that variable x again. So here it is, exception has occurred, will be printed only. So 1, 2, okay. That means one exception has occurred, and the sum is 3. Okay. So with this, I am completing the today's session. Maybe tomorrow onwards, we'll discuss the theory part of this topic. Again, along with this, we have to discuss the dynamic polymorphism or dynamic binding. It is called runtime polymorphism, and also in the other part is called dynamic binding. Okay. So for the timing, I will take the attendance, and let me see how many are present. Will not teach more today's class. So those who are present over here, just send me message. Is there any message link? Yes, chat window is there. Without disconnecting, just send me your roll number. Everyone, one by one, just write your roll number. Your serial number is first. Serial number, who is the beginning serial number? His name comes first. The attendance sheet. This is the first serial number, Bhagyadeep Urma. Let me wait, everyone. Wait. Let me check the attendance sheet. You will write your roll number. I will record this. Ayush Kumar Ram. Where is it? Ayush Kumar Ram. Not present. Okay. Divas Khadka. Divas Khadka is not there. Then Suryakant Mudli, Ajit Kumar Kaur. You are writing in a random sequence or in the attendance sequence, attendance seat sequence. Okay, those who have responded, you can leave.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, but you write your roll number, then you leave.
Already written.
Okay, okay. Shraddhanjali Naik. You write your roll number. Sonali Sanapati and Snigdharani Naik. These two people have not written your roll number. Only name you have written. Ajit Kar has responded 4 times. Shubham Naik. Okay, fine. I'm closing the session.